The first time Timothée Chalamet saw Call Me By Your Name was also the first time the public saw it at its premiere at the Sundance Film Festival on January 22nd, 2017. The film received a prolonged standing ovation, and during the Q&A session that followed, amongst those posing questions, someone asked, "Was that Timothy playing his own piano?" Chalamet had arrived in Crema 6 weeks before shooting began to learn, among other things, the piano pieces, but he didn't know if what he'd played live had been good enough to not be overdubbed. So he turned to Luca Guadagnino following the question and asked, "Was that all me?" "That's all you," was Luca's response. Guadagnino sought and got that level of authenticity everywhere in the film, and the audience responded. The film's remaining Sundance screenings became the hottest tickets at the festival as word of mouth spread. The rapturous reception the first screening received was repeated, and the first rave reviews began to spread online. While everything in the film just works, one of the standout aspects that make it not your average film is the music. In another video that I've already put up, I look at the approach that was taken to applying music in the film, the types of music used, and I define a couple terms. You should watch that video before this one if you haven't yet. In this video, I'm going to look at the musical pieces themselves and how I feel each one contributes to its scene. Let's dig in. As the opening credits pop onto the screen, Call Me By Your Name's soundtrack kicks off with the beautiful echoing Hallelujah Junction, a modern classical composition from 1996 by American composer John Adams. Played on two pianos, it immediately sets the instrument as the signature sound of the film. The highly intricate Adams work suits the classical images on display, mostly photos of ancient Greek statues and vases, along with some tools of study and creativity, as the music has an academic feel to it. There's no one on screen to hear this non-diegetic piece, but the sound and images adeptly establish the tone for the acutely observed story to come. Once the first scene begins, and we find ourselves at the Perlman Villa, there's no hint of music again until briefly we witness Elio transcribing music that he's listening to. That is, Elio is writing down the notes he hears, creating sheet music. In this case, it's the very complicated, mostly atonal Drei Klavierstücke, Opus 11 by Schoenberg. It's tough to make out, but it's enough for the quickest of introductions to Elio's passion, as his transcription work is quickly interrupted by the call of the dinner bell. Despite being super quiet for us, Elio hears the piece through headphones, so this is diegetic music.
We're being called for dinner.
It's another 5.5 minutes until we hear a note of music again, and it occurs when Oliver abandons Elio after their first trip into Crema. Expressing Elio's skepticism about this guy, we hear a modern classical piano piece from 1984, May in the Backyard, by Japanese musical genius Ryuichi Sakamoto. The non-diegetic piece continues as the next scene picks up in Professor Perlman's study sometime later. With its tripping melody and a repeating rolling bass line, an ostinato that harkens to a rhythm of life being developed as Oliver settles in and as Elio studies him from a distance. May in the Backyard fades out as Professor Perlman challenges Oliver with the origin of the word
apricot. Comes from the Arabic. It's like...
Our introduction to 1983's pop music comes in the next scene when Elio and Oliver are out and about again, this time walking into a village bar. Providing ambiance is J'adore Venise, with Loredana Berthet's plaintive vocals playing on the radio. It cuts out the moment we're gone from the bar, but we are soon playing volleyball on the grounds of the Perlman's villa, and the pop song Paris Latino by Bandolero is wafting through the air. Like in the bar, we don't see the source of the music, but we understand that someone has a radio or tape player providing some atmosphere for the game. The music fades out as Elio heads for the house. Both of these instances are diegetic. Inside, we're immediately back to the churning of May in the backyard as Elio shaves his scant whiskers, wanting so much to be old enough for Oliver to be interested in him. As Elio sits down for dinner, the non-diegetic piece fades out as it becomes apparent that Oliver is not at the meal. Elio confirms his frustration with the elusive summer student as he complains about Oliver's aloofness. Inside after dinner, we are treated to the opening theme of Sotto le Stelle, an Italian variety show of the time that's playing on the television. That's quickly judged not good enough, however, as Elio accedes to a request to play the piano for the dinner guests. Elio plays Erik Satie's Sonatine Bureaucratique. That's Elio's first diegetic performance of a piece, and it's followed a couple minutes later by a non-diegetic recording of the same piece by Frank Glazer, as Elio and Oliver go for a swim in the family's short lap pool the next day. Elio's got his sheet music with him by the pool, and he tells Oliver that he's reading it, but Oliver seems to know he's not. If Oliver could hear the music that's playing in Elio's head, he'd be all the more certain that Elio is now seeing him a little differently, no longer with such consternation, now more as an object of fascination and
He's not gonna tell me
study.
what he's thinking about. I guess I'll go hang out with your mom.
Soon enough, it's another day, and Elio is plucking out the notes of Johann Sebastian Bach's Capriccio on the departure of his beloved brother on his guitar,
Sounds nice.
as Oliver listens nearby. With a lovely melody that hints at affection, Oliver wants another listen.
Play it again, will you?
Elio's mischievous response is to have Oliver follow him into the house where he can really show off for him, playing the same piece 3 different ways on the piano.
Follow me.
Elio has been growing increasingly in awe of the visitor and wants to give Oliver a reason to be impressed with him too.
That sounds different.
The scene, with Timothée Chalamet making it all the way through the 3 variations without a cut, is one of the real highlights of the film, a triumph for both the actor and for the character, showing Elio's mastery at transcription. It's worth knowing that you simply cannot find recordings of the slower, seductively lilting version of the piece that Elio plays. Recordings of this piece typically rip through it, but not in that crashing way that Busoni would have played Liszt's version.
I can't believe you changed it again.
This diegetic piece is not on the soundtrack album.
It's young Bach. He dedicated it to his brother.
Following quickly is a non-diegetic lay-in of Alessio Bax's gorgeous piano rendition of Bach's Sein Herr die Wachte singen, playing while Elio notes his triumph and overall change of mind about Oliver in his diary. Moments later, the same piece is much quieter, but actually diegetic, as we see Elio transcribing again, headphones on, Walkman playing. The non-diegetic instance just before prepares us with what music is going through Elio's mind before he sits down to work on it here. As Elio puts the headphones on more precisely, the volume of the music rises. The scene switches, and suddenly it's non-diegetic again, providing the background soundtrack as Elio dreams the music while dozing away outdoors in the warm afternoon sun. We soon find ourselves at another one of the film's most talked about scenes, among a group of Elio's friends out for the evening at an outdoor disco. Giorgio Moroder and Joe Esposito's Lady, Lady, Lady fills the air as Elio's crew make conversation about Oliver and Chiara, one of their peers, swaying in each other's arms on the dance floor. The most romantic setting he's seen Oliver in yet, Elio's transfixed, maybe a little jealous. Our editor, I mean the DJ, flips the switch though, and suddenly the pulsating beat of the Psychedelic Furs' Love My Way takes over. It's a notable song. You don't need to know what they're singing about to dance to it, but as Richard Butler of the Psychedelic Furs told Cream magazine, it's basically addressed to people who are fucked up about their sexuality and says, don't worry about it. It was originally written for gay people. Dancers quickly respond, none more so than Oliver, who springs to life, seemingly freed by the music or the lyrics, possibly both. Dancing with abandon, Oliver practically becomes magnetic, drawing Elio onto the dance floor where Elio's out to impress both Oliver and his casual squeeze Marzia with some cool dance moves of his own. Elio's energy is seductive enough that he's soon at the local swing hole for a night swim with Marzia, soundtrack replaced with cricket, cicada, and frog sounds. When the soundtrack next takes over from the birds and the bugs again, we're on the hunt for Greek statuary, and for the first time since the opening credits, listening to the music by modern master John Adams again. This time, it's Rolf Hind playing Phrygian Gates for piano, part 1, as Elio, Oliver, and Professor Perlman arrive in Sirmione to witness the retrieval of ancient artifacts from the waters of the Lago di Garda. Phrygian Gates from 1978, considered Adams' first composition in his signature minimalist style, is a nod to ancient Grecian harmonia and a time when the notion of the octave was first being codified, a modern musical reference harkening back to the time-worn statues being retrieved from the depths. Following their official Truce by Extended handshake, it's the next day, and Elio is sitting down at the piano, whiling away his time playing his most dreamily romantic piece yet, Maurice Ravel's Une barque sur l'océan, which we will soon hear non-diegetically several times on a following day in a gorgeous piano version by André Laplante. Before Elio slips totally into dream territory though, he's surprised to find himself inhaling Oliver's scent from his bathing suit, then surveilling this modern Greek god unseen from a floor above as we hear the music from the opening credits, John Adams' first movement of Hallelujah Junction again, with its something is going on quality. Rain sweeps in, and the family curls up for Mum to read a short story from Marguerite of Navarre's Heptameron. The record player is on softly in the background, playing Valeria Sferansky and Ronald Cavaill's recording of Le Jardin Féerique from Ma Mère Loire, or The Fairy Garden from Mother Goose by Maurice Ravel. The music dying when the power is knocked out by the storm. In the ballet version of Ma Mère Gloire, during Le Jardin Féerique, Sleeping Beauty is awakened by her prince, a musical reference to the tale Annella is reading.
You do know that you can always talk to us.
A few days later, Elio and Oliver bike into town and arrive at the Battle of Piave Memorial, where their conversation triggers Elio's oblique but unmistakable confession of his feelings for Oliver.
I wanted you to know.
Here, Une barque sur l'océan underscores every dreamy moment. The piece fades in and out 5 times during this section, often while the two cycle together through the countryside, and signals a turning point in their relationship. A boat on the ocean, as the piece's name translates to, represents the ride that Elio's emotions are taking him on. The left hand is the rolling sea, the right hand, the boat. The waves grow and subside, rhythmically rocking but never overwhelming the boat. Also figuring prominently in the trailer for the film, the piece can be argued to be the central classical piece of Call Me By Your Name. Its quality is comparatively relaxed, but still thrilling, hinting at possibilities. Une barque sur l'océan indicates a time to savor the thrill of letting oneself be taken by the waves. So that's set the stage for the rest of the story to play out. And it's a lot to consider already. We'll come back where I've left off in the next video.